Hey everyone, and in today's video we're going to be solving a ladder problem. So the problem statement that we are given is that 2 out of the 6 lights are working in this chandelier, and I'll post this picture up on the screen right now. So we need to fix the 4 lights that are dead, but the problem is that we cannot reach the light bulb with our hand. So we're going to need to find the length of the ladder as shown in the picture in order to fix the light. So to solve this problem, we're going to consider 3 different cases. So the first case, we're going to be using the Pythagoras Theorem to solve it, and the Pythagoras Theorem means a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. And the second case, we're going to be using the cosine formula. And finally, for the third one, we're going to be using the sine formula. So these are going to be the 3 ways that we're going to solve this problem. So now if we look at the picture again, we can kind of see that it looks like a right angle triangle. So we can see that the long red line is the ladder, and we can call that C for the hypotenuse. And then we can see that the roof part, then we can see that that could be as the base, so we can call that A. So for that part, we can call it side B, or we could also call it as the height. So then we have 3 sides once again, so we have A, B, and C, and then C is the hypotenuse, which is the longest one, which is also our ladder, and then the top, which is the roof, and we're going to call that A, and then the side, which is the B, which is side B, which is also considered as our height. So now let's say that we're given side A and side B. So for side A, the length is 9.3 foot, and for B, it's 11.6 foot. So for this method, we're going to use the case 1, which is the Pythagoras Theorem. So all we have to do is do 9.3 squared plus 11.6 squared, and that equals to c squared. So then if we do the calculations, we have c squared equals to a squared plus b squared. So now we can import our values. So c squared equals to 9.3 squared plus 11.6 squared. And then after that, we can just square root everything else. Since c is squared, if we bring it to the other side, then it'll turn into square root. So next we would say c equals to square root of 9.3 squared plus 11.6 squared. So now we're going to replace the values once again. So 9.3 squared is basically saying 9.3 times 9.3, and that is equal to 86.49. And after that, we also need to do the same thing to the 11.6. So from there, we're going to do 11.6 times 11.6, which is 134.56. So now we're going to add both of those together, and we get 221.05. So from there, we can just square root that, and then we get 14.8677. So we can basically just round that up to 14.9. So using the Pythagoras Theorem, we found out that the length of this ladder is almost around 14.9 foot. So we use the Pythagoras Theorem to find out our last given side, the hypotenuse, using the formula a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. So that is our first case of solving this ladder problem. So now let's say that we're given the base, which is A, and we're still given the 9.3 foot, and then we're also given an angle 51 degrees. So this problem can be solved using the cosine function. So the cosine function basically says that you divide the base by the hypotenuse, which will basically be A by C. So now we're going to be solving this triangle using the cos function. So we're first going to write cos 51 is equal to A by C. So next we're going to substitute our values in. So if we plug into our calculator cos 51 in degrees, then we get 0.63. So then we get 0.63 for cos. Then we're going to write equals to 9.3. So because for our side A we're given 9.3, we're just going to plug in the value of 9.3. So now we have 0.63 is equal to 9.3 over C. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to cross multiply and bring c to the other side, which makes our equation look like 0.63 times c equals to 9.3 foot. So now we want to isolate our variable c. So to isolate our variable c, we're going to need to put 0.63 to the other side. So to do that, right now if it's multiplication, then it's going to be divided on the other side. So if we push the 0.63 to the other side, then we get c is equal to 9.3 feet over 0.63. And now if we just divide 9.3 divided by 0.63, then we get 14.76. So if we round it up, then we get 14.8. So using the Pythagoras Theorem, we found out the length of the ladder was 14.9 feet. But using the cos formula, we found out that the ladder is 14.8 feet. So they're pretty close enough. So that is how you use the cos function to find out the length of any triangle. So now let's move on to our final formula. So in this formula, we're given one side A and the angle of 39 degrees. So this problem is going to be solved using the sine function. So now let's just quickly visualize our triangle. So we got 9.3 feet at the top, and then we have 39 degrees angle. So now using the sine function, let's find out the length of the hypotenuse. So the sine function states that it's always going to be perpendicular, or the height, divided by the hypotenuse. So in this case, we can write sine 39 is equal to a over c. So then we're just going to substitute our values in. So for sine 39, we get 0.63, and that is equal to 9.3 over c. So now we're just going to bring c to the other side, so then it's going to be multiplying. So 0.63 times c is equal to a, and after that, then we're just going to bring 0.63 to the other side, which makes it divide by 9.3. So then we get c is equal to 9.3 divided by 0.63. And after you divide we get c is equal to 14.76 feet. So then we can just round that up and say that it's 14.8 feet. So now for the conclusion. So we now know that the length of the ladder that we're going to need is around 14.8 feet to 14.9 feet. So that's basically it for solving this ladder problem. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.